Hunter 407. 406 last week we left off talking about the regalia, the sword, the mummy slash anchorite, as well as the seed urn. Crowler wants to seal them all, level up. Bandit secret. We saw different passageways through the hole to get between levels the Phantom Troop was being escorted through. Nobunaga turned back to go down to the lower levels. Phaeton and Finks are going to the higher levels, if I'm not mistaken. And the procession for Prince Halkenberg are the main takeaways from the last chapter. I have no expectations going into the new chapter except maybe a continuation with Crowlow or that Phantom Troop group that was moving around. Maybe we jump to the other Phantom Troop group. Maybe we jump back to Melody and Fugetsu and everything that's going on there. I don't really know, but let's just get into it. I don't want to waste too much time talking about it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. If you're on the Twitch, drop a sub. If you are on the YouTube, we don't have memberships yet, so don't do that. But show some love. Let me know how you guys feel about the content as well as the chapter. Obviously, the chapter comes first. Shout out Togashi. Glad he's feeling in better health. Heard he just finished 411. And let's get into it. Hunter chapter 407 by Yoshihiro Togashi. Chapter called Negotiation. So we're back to the funeral procession. We see the building, crowd, guards, and a lot of people looking very sad. I love look at the variation in the expressions here. Like, everybody's sad, but it's displayed much differently. The guy in the front, I mean, the foreground details. The guy in the front, this person here, and the couple. Nice. Said, turn up Mike. Motherfucker, if you don't turn up your stream. Alright, fine. We'll go there. Oh, that's why. Never mind. You were right. You were right. There you go. That should be good, right? Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Does Mike sound really, really good right now? Because I did some tinkering with the settings in the past week. So I would imagine it probably sounds pretty good. All right, carrying the casket. 12 pallbearers. Gigantic staircase. Togashi's loving scale in this arc. Loving it. It's the most reoccurring detail by far. Like, at least once every other chapter we see something. Well, not literally once every other chapter, but if we go through all of the chapters up to this point in the Succession Contest arc, at least once every other chapter, so like probably about 25, 30 times, we've seen things implicative of scale, like looking at the ship itself, looking at the hull, looking at the departure several times, looking at the ocean, looking at, you know, just various things. The scale here, there's a lot of attention drawn to it. Mind your business, I didn't do anything. No. Like the staircase from the palace. Yeah, the shot does. The attention called to it does, but this doesn't feel as suspenseful. It just feels gigantic. Like, scale here is used as a means of just like overwhelming scale. Actually, it's scale for the sake of communicating scale. Day 12. We're on day. How long is this voyage supposed to be? 2 weeks? Or was it 3? Was it a month? What's up, Woogie? Thank you for the 33, bro. How you doing? 2 months. Okay, so 2 months? Now, things have to speed up at some point, right? Making brisket. All right, we'll talk about the brisket later, because if I start talking about brisket now, I'm going to get distracted. I love brisket. Press 1 in the chat if you love brisket. Day 12, Thursday, 1 p.m. Borksen. My boy, it's Otocin. I'm so happy. It's the friendship troop. This is unexpected. This is extremely unexpected. Borksen's missing. Missing? That's no good. That's no good. Benjamin, Morena, or Justice Bureau. One out of, like, those are the 3 immediate thoughts that pop into my head. None of them are good. Borksen's missing. Yeah, last contact was right before the procession passed her. So about 30. It's Morena. It's Dogman and the dude with the kidnapping ability. That's who they... That's who? She wants to convince... So she wants... Okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I think I'm right about who. I think I'm right about who. I think I'm right about why. But no, I'm almost positive I'm right about who. I'm not sure exactly of the implications of why. Because if Morena knows about all of them, that would be insane. So maybe Borksen is just, maybe there's a connection that she knows about with Borksen specifically, but doesn't have all of the information. Because if she knows about all of them, it's so doomed. It's so doomed. They can't catch up fast enough. And I have such high hopes for all of them. Especially my boy, Otocin. That's my guy. Anyway, Borksen's missing. Yeah. Last contact was right before the procession passed her. So about 30 minutes ago. Maybe she had a sudden post change, or she went after a suspect. We're supposed to report in if anything happens. She would have told us. Yeah, we have to assume the worst. That Borksen has been abducted, but by whom and what for? She's a soldier herself and was on alert. There was no struggle or commotion. Is that even possible? I love the background people details here. So tasteful. You guys were talking about Nen. You don't yet understand it, and this is what I was talking about before. When we saw them, I would be so excited for these characters to learn Nen, because they are so smart and resourceful and careful, and because there's so many people in this show are careful, but these, they give me an air of meticulousness that is rare even amongst like Hunter people. Like, you could go Zoldix, you could go Jing Pariston, maybe a couple of the Zodiacs, but not most of them. And there's only one speech bubble that you're missing here, Shiko. Like Illumi, Hisoka, Troop, like they have that sort of, and I'm not saying they'll ever be that good or that strong, but I think in a game of wits, they would have the upper hand on most of the princes. Not all. Benjamin, Sari really stick out, right? Lugerus as of recent, Hulkenberg. And that's kind of it. And that's crazy. Like, but that, I'm not saying that that's fact. I'm not saying that that's an agenda or anything. I'm just saying that is the impression that I get. They are very clever. So I want to see him learn that. If it were a coordinated team, it would be easy with the large number of people. Using something like drugs to immobilize her and big guys to surround her wouldn't be noticed in this crowd. If it was someone she knew, could have been a one-person job, or someone pretended to be sick and asked to be taken to the hospital where they were waiting for her. If they used those Nen abilities, they might have been able to manipulate her, like with hypnosis. The Heili might be using her to assassinate Sarah. So he's the I told you, invest in Otocin stocks. He's the MVP. He's the MVP. He's the MVP. I told you when he was acting all dumb and himbo. You can go back to the damn review. I promise I drew attention to it. Because the boss was looking down on him. The boss was looking down on him and thinks the rest of them are smart. And they are all smart. But he's dummy smart. I feel so vindicated right now. My Otocin stocks were worth it. Even if he gets clapped right now. And they all looked at him surprised. He got to the conclusion first. He is this group's like Gon. Because maybe he doesn't exhibit intelligence in the same like scholastic way as the rest of them, even though he appears to be very smart regardless. But he's intuitive and to the point. He'd probably be an enhancer. He seems very straightforward, or maybe it's all a guise and he'd be something else. So there are plenty of ways, as they look at him surprised. And that's exactly the worst case scenario. I keep seeing Genkai. It's the hair. Borksen went over what to do if one of us got caught. No negotiations, no rescue. Are we really going to stick with that plan? Hey, why are you standing there? Spread out and do your jobs. We're still on high alert. Sorry, I didn't scroll down for you guys. So, just them being asked to disperse by superior. Think about it and decide before we're done here. I'll keep moving for now. We'll come back to all of this later. I'll just say I love the way they move as a unit. That's who should remind Nobunaga of the troop, because, I mean, they seem to have more sensibilities about them at this point, but they're so smart, so pragmatic, and so quick. Oh, exactly who I didn't want to see right now. And exactly who I didn't want to see in that chair. This is the worst. The worst. Hello, Morena. It's not nice to see you. Welcome. This is the Heili hideout. We want you to join us. We're not going to force you. We have our reasons, but let's make sure. But let's just say you're like a compatible donor. The fuck does that mean? Oh, hold on, knock me back a page. There we go. We'll do our best to get you to join us. I'm not physically restrained. There are 6 of them. They took my weapons. Okay, so that's her eyes moving around, eyes closed open. She saw Morena, now she's assessing the situation. You must be Morena Prudo. What do you want from me? I don't remember any of it. It couldn't have been a normal abduction. They used some kind of power I don't know about. As expected. I can't answer right away. Not making any rash decisions is wise, but please understand that the more we tell you, the harder it is for us to back out. Is that a threat? Is it? Take it however you'd like. I can't tell you why, but the risk increases for both sides the longer this takes. Whose fault is that? That's fair. Don't expect a balanced perspective from a crime syndicate. I'm liking this dialogue, not its implications, but not the implications, but I'm liking seeing Morena interact with somebody she also knows is smart. We can do this quickly while also giving you a chance to get what you want. This is my first and only compromise. Let's decide with a negotiation game. Oh, this panel is... I didn't expect cards from anybody but Hisoka. But this adds another dimension to what the Joker could be. How do you negotiate with a game? Love this panel. I gotta remember to scroll more so you guys can see since it's so zoomed in, but if you withdraw from this game, you will lose the freedom to do anything other than say yes or no. Let's just start with the rules. We've got the lawyer, Yoko Tani's here. I can't tell if that's the gamer back there, and I don't remember any of these other three. Are there none in these cards? Is this game loaded? The dealer makes a request of the player. If the game is fair, I think that says a lot about Morena, actually. And the player makes a decision through this process. I have 7 cards face up on the board. You have 5 cards face down. You pick one of my cards, and I give you an answer. The chosen card is discarded to the graveyard. Next, I pick one of your cards and reveal it. That card is also discarded. We repeat. And the last of your cards remaining is your answer to our request. Let me guess. I have 4 yes and 1 no. Turn them over from the left. Yes, no. What's this? Return. You can return 1 card of your choice from your graveyard to your board. Thought. This game, it's not loaded, but it is. And it's loaded because Togashi is going to do some super genius nonsense. Well, not nonsense, but you know, with Morena, and have her already like understand how this entire scenario is going to play out and the answers. She went looking for Borksen for a reason. She knows what she wants for a reason. Somewhere, somehow, she's just a step ahead. That's how I feel at this point. If return is your last card, you can use it to retrieve the card of your choice to be your response. And there's the Joker. The Joker can turn into yes or no. If this is your last card, you can also make your choice. In form only. What do you mean? Sorry. You just said you'd take away my freedom to do anything besides say yes or no if I refuse to play. That means you won't let me leave until I say yes, right? What's the point of playing this game at all? Turn over the next one. This is so interesting. X? X is neither yes nor no. It means you don't have to make a decision. If this card is my last, I can void the game itself. That's right. If the X card remains, you can walk out of here without saying yes or no. We won't seek to renegotiate later, of course. I promise you. But if any other card forces you to decide yes or no, you will take full responsibility for the consequences of your answer. Do you understand? My face is melting. This was entirely unexpected. Prayers for Borksen. You haven't even gone over half the rules yet, have you? How could I answer? Even just with these rules, it's clear the system stacks the odds against me. At first glance, the yes card. What I would do as she asks is only 1 out of 5. This makes it seem like I have more chances to refuse or leave the game, creating the illusion that the player is advantaged. This is the first trap. The The yes card. If this is the last to remain, I'll have to join her. That means I'll have to obey all the rules they add later. It means complete defeat. But no is actually not different from yes. It pretends to be my friend, but no will bare its fangs as soon as the game begins. It depends on the explanation of the yes and no cards. Heads I win, tail you lose. Exactly. Exactly. This is what I was talking about. Like, I feel like it's just stacked in some way. But, I mean, a coercive game also characterizes Morena in a way that's not necessarily negative nor positive, just a doer. She'll explain all sorts of horrible things that would happen around me if I say no. This will keep going until I decide that saying yes is better. So no and Joker are pointless. My real cards are Return and X. 2 out of 5. 40% isn't such bad odds, considering the situation. Well, that's the second trap. No matter how many cards are good for me, none of it actually matters. As long as the game entails her picking my cards, they can cheat all they want. Okay then, I'll explain my cards. And the third trap is the worst. It's going to arm her with more information. I would imagine she has to, if this is a Nen-related game, I would imagine the explanations must be truthful. If she gives fully truthful explanations, I don't know what advantage that grants her. Maybe the opposite of cards. I don't know if it's a Nen ability, though. It could be somebody's Nen ability from around the table. Like either one of those people in the background. Or a combined ability of some sort, because we've seen something like that. I don't know. I don't know. The aim card. If you pick this card, I'll explain my goals. So we could get a lot of information relative to Morena here. The aim, the arm is probably like strength, like I'll explain how I'll do it. QA is you ask a question and I answer. A little bit of a Greed Island reminder as well. What we're trying to do by inviting you here and recruiting you. I'll try to be as concise as I can, but if you have any questions pertaining to my goals, I'll provide additional information. Next, the power card. If you pick this card, I'll explain my ability, or just her Nen ability. I really like the way he's drawing both Morena and Borksen here as well. So gosh, you can draw some women. Although it might go over your head a little bit, I'll tell you only the truth, without hiding anything. I'll go into as much detail as you want until you understand. But again, the longer this takes, the more risk to both of us. I might have to talk pretty quickly. QA. Question A. Oh. I'll answer as many questions as you have, as many times as you want. Except anything about my goals or my ability. If you want to know those things, use these cards. And my answers to your questions will only be in the form of yes or no, or yes and no. Why does she say what twice? The as many questions as you have, as many times as you want? Probably because she might not understand the answer the first time. As she was talking about with Nen earlier, she's like, I'll be as concise as I can because some of this information might just not fit within her just education systems. If you want more detail regarding an answer I gave to one of your questions, the longer this takes, the riskier things get. there could be a time thing relative to some ability as well. If you want more detail regarding an answer I gave to one of your questions, you'll have to pick the question B card on a later turn. I'll explain in greater depth until it's cleared up, but only about one question. Okay, so we've got goal, ability, question A, which is just spamming questions, and question B, which is clarification. So basically, you want to spam questions A, filter through all the questions, figure out which one is the most important, and then use question B. It's an augment. So be careful when you bring the question A round to a close. Yeah, all right. I don't need to hear yes or no answers. There's something I need to confirm about the way you answer. May I try it out now? Go ahead. I'll be able to tell through her tone and nonverbal cues. You will not cheat within the game at any point. Yes or no? That is the gamer girl. Okay. And I've seen this guy before, but I don't know his name. Negative questions can create the potential for misunderstandings. It's quite important to clear up any confusion beforehand. When answering a negative question such as, oh, here we go, Togashi. It's going to dialogue me to life, not death. When answering a negative question such as, you haven't done it? There are cultures that reply, yes, I have not. Yes, no. Usually the person answers for themselves, and yes and no are absolute terms. Thus, no, I have not. But for some reason, these people focus on the questioner's perspective and answer yes, meaning you are correct, or I agree with you. Maybe it's an old hierarchy mindset or the philosophy of selfless hospitality. In some dialects, the reflexive pronoun self gets used in second person context as if they're stepping into the other's shoes. Crazy, huh, Yokotani? Sorry, I don't even realize I do that. She got the lawyer. It looks like this game works as an initiation when soliciting new members in an interview. Morena uses this exchange to observe the subject, to examine their personality, intelligence, and to judge whether they're compatible for her team. Your answer? No. I will not cheat. I'm answering from my perspective. Does that work for you? Yes. I feel. Was that word salad? Maybe it's just a mind game. Or rather, she's just using it to examine. I feel so much anger from her. What in the world is she so angry about? She's intuitive. Now, as for the yes and no cards, she won't cheat. It's obvious she has absolute control simply by looking at her and her cronies. She's confident, but still respectful toward me. From her attitude and intonation, I can tell cheating isn't allowed at the organizational level. With these, for the yes and no cards, with these, sorry, I forgot to scroll again. With these, I'll explain in detail what happens when you're left with yes or no as your last card. Pick these cards if you want to know that in advance. Last is D, the deal card. Okay. So it's just to get more, it's additional information that's gated. Pick this card if there's a card you really need to take back from your graveyard. You'll get it by granting a small, don't like that in quotations, a small request of mine. Once you hear what it is, You don't have to do it if you think you can't. But in that case, it becomes my turn, and Deal will go to the graveyard. The game ends when you're left with 1 card, so your last chance to use this card is when you're down to 2 cards. There. I've explained all the card rules. She gets 4 turns? She either gets 4 turns or she gets a 5th turn and just gambits on her last card. Now, will you decide whether you'll play the game? I will, under one condition. What's that? I'll decide which card you'll pick of my face down cards, if that's okay with you. Sure. That's happened before, and I'll take care of the shuffling, right? Now, let's begin. Banger. Banger. We'll start here and work our way back. Here, Morena Prudo. I'm impressed. You know, for her ambition, you might think she'd be a little rash, but she's very clever, very shrewd. And I want to know how she reached the conclusion that she needed to find and recruit Borksen. It's not good for Borksen. That's for sure. It's not good for our boys. The friendship troop. It's not really good for anybody. Because she's smart. Borksen's smart. She's an asset. Surely. Each and every one of those people in that group is an asset. And I have a feeling that Morena would try to leverage her as an asset against her friends. Moving on. Borksen. Horrible situation to be in. Don't envy her. Who's got it worse right now? Her or Theta? Probably her, honestly, because at least Seriadnik has whims. Like, you can sort of, like, parry him a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, he's freaky, but you can distract him. This is sort of my point. This, I don't think so. Theta worse, no way she survives. If we're looking at survival outlook, I don't know. Because who deals with the Haley and survives? Like, there are people that deal with Seriadnik that are alive. All these people have our bodies. And their boss isn't amused at anything. Is survival better if it means you become a pawn? He does that's what I'm saying. And yeah, Borksen's options right now are pretty much become a pawn, super game the situation. I think she walks away, to be honest. I think she gets the X card because it would allow for tension of the narrative. Once she's not useful anymore, I think it fully depends what she does relative to him. You know, if she just opens all of his potential and graciously does so, I could see him being indebted to her. Because the thing is, there was a reason he kept her around to begin with. Before knowing about Nen. Keep that in mind. I could see Theta being okay. In a vacuum. Likely not, let's be clear. But, okay, Borksen's in a bad spot. Morena's nuts. We know who, for sure, Morena wanted them to get at the funeral procession. How did they know she'd be there? And then, okay. I want to double back because the panel that caught my attention the most this chapter, the panel that caught my attention the most during this chapter was the little one of Otocin just blurting out the thing about Nen. He's going to be smart. And one, it's either going to be a big deal or he's going to get clapped first. If he gets clapped first, I will be upset. I don't want bad things to happen to them at all. They seem like decent characters, which probably means Togashi's gonna hurt my feelings. I can't possibly predict how this game is gonna come out, because like I said, given the way this story is written, how alive it is, any of the things could happen. She could be forcing cooperation. That seems too easy. Could she be convinced to cooperate? Maybe. Could she be given the opportunity to walk away? Maybe. But in either case, it wouldn't be so simple. It's going to be interesting. I don't think there's really much else to say about this chapter. This is sort of disconnected from everything else is going on. This is going to impact Cyriadnik. This is going to impact the Mafia struggle. And what's interesting about that is this is going to impact both the Mafia struggle and Cyriadnik, and it's coming from people who are common soldiers in the grand scheme of Kaki. This is a giant opposite side of the coin to what Shimano the maid did in taking the call from the third prince. This is a needle in a haystack. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. What questions would I ask Morena? What her goals are, period, not involving me, because that's on the table. The first one about goals was relative to her goals in bringing Borksen here to be recruited, not her other goals. So she could ask about the other ones. And then elaborate on what the intended outcomes and rationale behind those goals are. Ask her why. Possibly ask her why I'm necessary, because that might not relate to why she wanted to recruit me. Well, it would relate, but you could ask that afterwards. Be like, why does it have to be me? Yeah, Morena's really interesting. I'm curious. I'm scared for Borksen and all of the boys. Are each and every person in this group going to be put in horrible situations? Because technically it's not one of them, but they know Theta, right? I'm not remembering that incorrectly, because now Borksen and Theta are in horrible situations, and the rest of them might soon follow individually. One of them's going to be stuck with Benjamin. One of them's going to be stuck with Camilla. I hope the troop gets stuck with Otocin, to be honest. I hope the troop gets stuck with Otocin, because he won't shut up, and it'll be so funny. Nobunaga will like him, and everybody else will hate him. Otocin the Yapatron, that's my dog. I don't really have any other thoughts for this chapter. I don't want the greatness of this chapter to be lost on people, because the potential is palpable and Togashi will see it through. It doesn't give us the immediate payoff that like a 401 or a 406 did, but I want to put a pin in this and remember this moment. And I think that's a fair request, because I think when we look back at this will be the type of thing, like if the anime ever comes out for the Succession War, right, God willing, this is one of those scenes where you're gonna look at your friend who hasn't seen it and just look over at them and be like, it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it feels. It has the vibe of like when Melody and Kurapika were talking before the auction, or when what's another good example? Yeah, they have no idea what's about to happen type beat. Or when Nobunaga and Machi are walking out of the town before they catch Killua and Gon. Things like that. Just those very impactful, suspenseful anticipation moments. This is a chapter of anticipation, and I don't want to lose sight of that. What's up, Ken? Because like I said, it doesn't give the immediate payoff of 406. But 407, yeah. Borksen's in the lion's den. It's great. This is a great chapter. Like I said, just put a pin in this and wait for the payoff. Like, as of now, I could see if people were immediately like, oh yeah, that's underwhelming, or oh, whatever, I'm just waiting for the next chapter. I just don't see it that way. I'm going to be thinking about this all week. I'm probably going to think about this more than 401. That might be crazy, but I'm so serious. I can't even wait for them to finish this setup, because by the time they finish this setup, or we get the answers, or even if we get the answers in retrospect, it's gonna be ground shaking. Yeah, I would say, you know, it's like it's like a chapter that can detonate. We kind of already understand a lot of the gravity of like a 406 or a 401. But chapters like 402 and this one, right, we've yet to reap the fruit of. And when we do, I think it'll catch up. This one, if we see the gameplay out next chapter, that'd be insane. And I hope so, because I hope I'm not left in limbo with this for very long, because I want answers. This is just so intriguing. Like, there's so much. It's a new guy in an underdog effect, like, I'll keep it real, like, but I'm very interested to see what these guys can do. I'm very interested to see what Togashi has planned for this faction, because he introduced them as a faction, and multiple of them are already very personable and likable, and they care about Borksen greatly. I love it. I mean, it's hard not to love an underdog, you know what I mean? And they are they're like the Usopps of this arc. You know? And I say that's the most respectful praise I can ever give Usopp, because it's fuck Usopp, but it's not fuck them. They're the regular people. Not the regular people, because those people aren't smart enough to get involved in any of this, but they are the regular gifted individuals who are trying to tango with the superhumans right now. and I hope they do well. I'm not optimistic though. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Yeah, I think that's all for me for now, guys. Drop a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Drop by the Twitch if you want to watch the live reactions. And I'll catch you guys soon. Enjoy your week. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Let me know how you felt in the comments. Later.